Today, fellow knowledge seekers, I stand before you to unfold a tale of might, innovation, and resilience. Our story finds its roots in the dimming light of the 41st millennium, as the Imperium of Man grappled with existential threats, its very fabric tearing at the seams. Imagine a time when the Astronomicon flickered, when world after world fell silent, consumed by the shadows of chaos and despair. Amidst this tumult, a beacon of hope emerged, a new breed of warrior, unseen and unheard of, until the hour of our greatest need. The Primaris Space Marines, as they came to be known, were the fruit of millennia of labor, a secret project of the Archmagos Belisarius Karl, crafted under the direct auspices of the Primarch Guilliman himself. These warriors, hidden beneath the Martian surface, were the embodiment of progress and the culmination of genetic mastery, a testament to the undying ingenuity of mankind. As the Great Rift tore through the galaxy, rending planets and extinguishing stars, Guilliman, returned from the brink of death, made the fateful decision to awaken these dormant giants. With their emergence came a tide of change, as the Grey Shields, so named for their neutrality, joined the ranks of the Indomitus crusade, standing shoulder to shoulder with their firstborn brethren. These Primaris Marines, clad in Mark X Tacticus armor and bearing arms the likes of which had not been seen, were a sight to behold. Their integration into the established chapters of the Astartes was a journey fraught with challenges and trials. Old ways met new as these towering warriors fought to prove their worth, to show that they too were sons of the Emperor, bound by the same oath to protect mankind at all costs. Their presence marked a new dawn, a shimmering light in an era of unending darkness. With bolter and blade, they carved a path through the enemies of the Imperium, their deeds becoming the stuff of legend. Yet this was not a simple tale of triumph and glory. It was a saga of adaptation, of unity forged in the crucible of war. As we delve deeper into the tapestry of their creation, it becomes imperative to understand the why, the profound purpose that necessitated the birth of these new sons of the Emperor. The Imperium, as we all well know, has endured through ages, standing as the bastion of humanity in a galaxy rife with turmoil and darkness. Yet even the mightiest of citadels can show signs of wear and tear. And by the closing days of the 41st millennium, the cracks in our illustrious Imperium's facade were all too apparent. Worlds fell, one after the other, as the tides of heresy, Xenos incursions, and the insidious whispers of the warp sought to unravel the fabric of our society. The Space Marines, our noble defenders, fought valiantly, but they were stretched thin, a finite resource in a galaxy of infinite threats. In the shadows of this turmoil, the Primarch Guilliman, wounded unto death, lay in stasis. His dreams, however, were not of despair, but of salvation. Before his state of suspended animation, Guilliman envisioned a new breed of warrior, one that would carry the torch of humanity's defiance into the darkest corners of the galaxy. Enter Belisarius Karl, a servant of the Omnissiah, with a mind as brilliant as it was unorthodox. Guilliman entrusted him with a task of monumental gravity to refine, enhance, and perfect the gene-forging process that gave life to the Astartes, and in doing so, create a new breed of Space Marine, superior in every conceivable way. This sacred duty, wrapped in layers of secrecy, would span over 10 millennia, as Karl delved into forbidden sciences and ancient pacts, all in the name of creating warriors that would be the saviors of mankind. And so, beneath the Martian sands, the Primaris Marines were forged, their bodies enhanced, their minds steeled, and their spirits unbreakable. But why, you may ask, did Guilliman and Karl see fit to tread this perilous path? The answer, dear colleagues, is twofold. First, there was the undeniable need for reinforcement, for a new surge of might to bolster the dwindling ranks of the Adeptus Astartes. The Primaris Marines were to be that surge, a flood of strength and resilience to turn the tide of countless battles. Secondly, and perhaps more profoundly, was the vision of evolution and progress. Guilliman, in his unmatched wisdom, recognized that the Imperium could not simply cling to the past if it was to survive the future. The Primaris Marines were the embodiment of this evolution, a step forward in our ceaseless march against the darkness. Karl, however, was not a mind to be constrained by mere expectations. His vision extended beyond the horizons of possibility, delving into realms of innovation and enhancement that teetered on the edge of the forbidden. He dared to ask questions that others would not, to explore paths untrodden, and in doing so, he propelled the creation of the Primaris Space Marines into realms Guilliman himself might not have dared to dream. His brilliance shone brightest in his enhancement of the Primaris Marines' physical prowess. He augmented their strength and resilience, making them titans on the battlefield who could withstand blows that would fell their Astartes brethren. Their reflexes were honed to perfection, their senses amplified to perceive threats unseen and unheard by others. But Call did not stop at physical enhancement. He delved into the very essence of what it means to be a Space Marine, fortifying their mental fortitude and spiritual resilience. He refined their indoctrination processes, ensuring that their loyalty to the Emperor and their chapter would be unassailable, their minds impervious to the whispers of heresy and corruption. In the Crucible of Mars, Call also birthed innovations in war gear and armaments. He provided the Primaris Marines with weaponry and armor that were both a testament to the Imperium's glorious past and a beacon of its potential future. Each bolt fired, and every blade swung carried with it the weight of Call's genius and the Primarch's vision. Yet ambition did not rest upon the laurels of creation. Call foresaw the necessity of integration, understanding that the Primaris Marines needed to be woven into the very fabric of the Adeptus Astartes. He laid the groundwork for their seamless assimilation into existing chapters, ensuring that they would be brothers in arms, united in purpose and spirit. Call, in his unparalleled wisdom, understood that the crucible of war would be the forge of these warriors' mettle. However, he also recognized that to send them into battle unprepared would be a grave disservice to their potential, and a perilous risk for the Imperium they were destined to safeguard. Thus, he embarked upon a meticulous and exhaustive training regimen, unparalleled in its scope and intensity. Within the hidden sanctums and secret chambers beneath the red sands of Mars, Call created a realm of relentless trials and challenges. Here, the Primaris were subjected to a crucible of simulated warfare, their every action and decision scrutinized and analyzed. They were pitted against the most formidable adversaries and treacherous environments, from the heretical forces of chaos to the inscrutable threats of xenospecies. But Call's approach transcended mere physical and combat training. He understood that a Space Marine's true strength lies in his ability to wield a bolter or brandish a chainsword, but in his unshakable faith and resolve. Thus, he instilled in the Primaris a profound sense of duty and devotion, nurturing their spiritual fortitude to ensure they were unassailable beacons of the Emperor's light. In his infinite foresight, he also recognized the importance of camaraderie and brotherhood among the Primaris. He fostered a sense of unity and mutual respect, ensuring that each warrior understood his place within the greater whole and valued the contributions of his battle brothers. In the crucible of their training, they forged bonds unbreakable, a brotherhood as strong as ceramite. To hone their strategic minds, each Primaris was subjected to an exhaustive curriculum of tactical exercises and war simulations. They learned to think like commanders, to anticipate the enemy's moves and counteract with precision and decisiveness. They studied the art of war in all its facets, from grand strategy to the minutiae of squad-level tactics. Call, ever the innovator, also ensured that the Primaris Marines were masters of their enhanced war gear and weaponry. He drilled them relentlessly, ensuring that each warrior could wield his bolter with unerring accuracy and unleash the fury of his power sword with lethal precision. They became living weapons, fearless and relentless, due to their training. The Space Marines, as we have known them, genetically modified demigods, their bodies and minds honed to the peak of human potential. Now envision that potential taken even further, transcending the limits set by our beloved Emperor himself. This is the miracle that Call bestowed upon the Imperium through the Primaris Space Marines. To understand their biology is to delve into the very fabric of what it means to be a Space Marine. The traditional Astartes are a marvel of genetic engineering, their bodies enhanced with 19 additional organs, each serving a specific and vital purpose. The Primaris, however, are endowed with 3 accessory organs, and each existing organ is enhanced to a level of unparalleled function. The sinew coils, aptly named the steel within, transform the already formidable strength of a Primaris into something otherworldly. The dura metallic coil cables intertwined with the Marine's muscles enable feats of power beyond the imagination of mere mortals. Yet this augmentation serves a dual purpose, adding an additional layer of defense to the Primaris Marine's already resilient form. It is a sublime fusion of offense and defense, ensuring that in the crucible of battle, the Primaris stands unmatched. The Magnificat, known as the Amplifier, is a marvel of bioengineering. This diminutive organ, seamlessly integrated into the Marine's brain, acts as a catalyst, enhancing both the growth functions of the body and the efficacy of the other transhuman implants. It magnifies the effects of the Biscopea and the Os Modula, ensuring that the physical form of the Primaris Marine is a true reflection of the Emperor's vision. The Belisarian Furnace, the Revitalizer, is a marvel of bioalchemy. This dormant organ, lying in wait, is ready to spring into action in the Marine's direst hour, releasing a potent cocktail of chemicals to not only keep the warrior in the fight, but also to rapidly repair his body from the inside out. For millennia, the Adeptus Astartes have been plagued by the inherent flaws and idiosyncrasies within their respective gene seeds, each chapter bearing its own unique burdens passed down through the ages. Some of these were minor quirks and peculiarities that did little to hinder the Space Marine's efficacy in battle. Others, however, were far more insidious, manifesting as curses that could compromise a chapter's honor, or, in extreme cases, their very sanity. Call, in his unrelenting pursuit of perfection, sought to confront these genetic anomalies head-on. Armed with knowledge and technology that spanned back to the Dark Ages and a steely resolve, he embarked upon a task to purify the gene seed, to distill it to its most pristine and potent form. He delved into ancient data slates, cross-referenced genetic templates, and conducted countless experiments in his clandestine laboratories deep within the Martian catacombs. His methodology was both meticulous and methodical, as he worked to isolate and identify the genetic sequences responsible for the flaws within each strand of gene seed. Once identified, these aberrations were excised with precision, their corrupting influence purged from the genetic code. Yet, Call's task was more than one of elimination. He understood that the essence of each chapter, its unique strengths and characteristics, must be preserved. And so, he worked tirelessly to strike a delicate balance, ensuring that the sanctity of the gene seed was maintained even as its imperfections were eradicated. In doing so, Call managed to accomplish what many believed to be impossible. The gene seed of the Primaris Space Marines was purged of its flaws, their genetic legacy untainted and unburdened by the sins of the past. They stood as paragons of the Emperor's vision, their bodies and minds free from the shackles that had once bound their firstborn brethren. And yet, despite the magnitude of his achievement, Call's work was not without its critics. There were those within the hallowed halls of the Adeptus Mechanicus and the Adeptus Astartes who viewed his actions as hubris, blasphemous tampering with the divine work of the Emperor himself. They questioned the wisdom of meddling with the sacred gene seed, of stripping away the flaws that had, in some cases, come to define the very identity of a chapter. But Call, ever the visionary, was undeterred. He believed that in purifying the gene seed, he had bestowed upon the Imperium a new breed of warrior, unencumbered by the ghosts of the past and fully capable of standing against the myriad threats that sought to extinguish the Emperor's light. And as the Primaris Space Marines took their place upon the battlefields of the 41st millennium, proving their worth time and time again, even the most ardent of doubters could not deny the truth of Call's vision. The tale I share with you today ventures into the realms of the unspoken and the controversial. It is a chapter of our history veiled in secrecy, known to only a select few. Archmagos Belisarius Call, in his unwavering pursuit of Guilliman's directives, embarked on a path that defied conventions and challenged the very tenets of our beliefs. Call, with his unparalleled genius and relentless drive, did not limit his resurrection of the Adeptus Astartes to the loyal sons of the Primarchs. He delved into the forbidden, into the gene seed of those lost to treachery and corruption, the traitor Primarchs. His rationale, cloaked in the brilliance of innovation and the desperation of our times, was simple yet audacious. If the gene seed was pure, if the warriors could be kept from the corruption that befell their Primarch forebears, they could serve the Imperium once more. The Archmagos, in his secluded labs and hidden sanctums, worked in secret, applying the advancements of the Primaris to the Geneseed of the lost legions. He believed in the redemption of their genetic legacy, in the possibility of reclaiming their strength for the Emperor's service. The implications of this act were monumental. It challenged the decree of the Emperor himself, who had cast aside the traitor legions for their betrayal. It risked the ire of the Adeptus Astartes, the Inquisition, and every loyal servant of the Imperium. Yet Caul saw beyond the scars of the Horus heresy. He saw the potential for a new breed of warrior, unburdened by the sins of the past. But let us not be blind to the dangers of such a path. The Geneseed carries with it the essence of the Primarch, and within that essence the potential for greatness and the seeds of damnation. To tread this path is to dance on the edge of a blade, risking the very soul of the Imperium for the promise of power. The Firstborn, they were the bulwark of the Imperium, the line unbroken since the days of the Great Crusade, and into their ranks came the Primaris, born of ancient Geneseed, yet altered, enhanced. To some, they were brothers lost in time, finally come home. To others, they were interlopers, strangers bearing familiar heraldry. The Space Marine clad in his power armor, scars of battles past etched upon his very soul. He has fought for centuries, has seen worlds burn and empires fall. And now he stands side by side with a warrior who shares his Gene father's legacy, yet is untouched by the weight of history. For many of the Firstborn, there was a sense of displacement, of being overshadowed by these new arrivals. The Primaris were taller, stronger, equipped with weapons and armor, the likes of which had not been seen since the dark days of the Horus heresy. They were the Emperor's new favor, a gift to a beleaguered Imperium. And where did that leave the Firstborn? Were they to be cast aside, relics of a bygone era? Yet amidst the uncertainty, there were those who saw the Primaris for what they truly were, a much-needed reinforcement, a new blade in the Imperium's arsenal. They embraced the newcomers, took them under their wing, and showed them the ways of war that only centuries of battle could teach. They stood shoulder to shoulder against the tide of heretics, Xenos and demons, and found common ground in the crucible of war. And there were those, few, but loud in their dissent, who could not accept this change. They viewed the Primaris with suspicion and resentment, saw in them a reflection of their own obsolescence. They clung to tradition and the old ways of war, even as the galaxy burned around them. But let us not forget the resilience of the Astartes. They are warriors bred for war, and in war they found their unity. The Firstborn and the Primaris, though different in many ways, were bound by the same sacred oaths, the same undying loyalty to the Emperor and the Imperium. The process was not without its challenges, its moments of tension and discord. But as the centuries passed, the lines between Firstborn and Primaris began to blur. They learned from each other, grew stronger together. The Primaris brought new strategies, new weapons, and the Firstborn brought experience, a deep-seated knowledge of the enemy. And so the Adeptus Astartes emerged from this cauldron of change, not diminished, but enhanced. The Firstborn, the veterans of countless campaigns, stood alongside their Primaris brethren, a new generation of warriors ready to face the challenges of a dark and uncertain future. The Rubicon Primaris, named with a nod to ancient Terran history, represents a threshold, a point of no return, and for our Space Marine brethren, a chance at rebirth. Consider, if you will, a Space Marine, a Firstborn, seasoned by centuries of relentless warfare, his body a tapestry of scars and bionics, his spirit undiminished yet encased in aging flesh. The Rubicon Primaris beckons to him, offers him a chance to don the mantle of the Primaris Marine, to serve the Emperor with renewed strength and vitality. But this gift is not without its great risks. The process of crossing the Rubicon is fraught with peril, a gauntlet that tests not only the Marine's physical endurance, but also the depth of his faith and the strength of his will. The Rubicon Primaris is no mere surgical procedure. It is a crucible, a trial by fire. The Marine's body must be reforged, his organs replaced with the enhanced versions granted to the Primaris. His very Geneseed must be altered, a process full of mystery and sanctity, overseen by the chapter's most skilled apothecaries. The pain is unimaginable, the strain on the Marine system extreme. Many do not survive the process. Their bodies reject the transformation, or their hearts fail under the strain. They die not in battle, but on the operating table. Their last moments a test of faith and fortitude. But for those who endure, who cross the Rubicon and emerge on the other side, the rewards are manifold. They stand taller, stronger, their bodies rejuvenated. They are gifted with new weapons and armor, and their combat skills are enhanced. They are, in every sense, reborn. It is a transformation that transcends the physical. The Marine's spirit, too, is renewed. He carries with him the wisdom and experience of a firstborn, the memories of battles fought and brothers lost, but he also embraces the future, the potential of the Primaris. And in this way, the Rubicon Primaris serves as a bridge between the old and the new, a way for the venerable warriors of the Adeptus Astartes to renew their sacred oaths and continue their eternal war against the enemies of mankind. The Unnumbered Sons, also known as the Grey Shields, were a unique formation in the annals of the Adeptus Astartes. Crafted from the Geneseed of the original Primarchs, these warriors were brought to life in the darkest of times, during the Indomitus crusade, to stand as a bulwark against the encroaching forces of chaos and the myriad threats assailing our Imperium. These were not your typical Space Marines, bound to a single gene line or Primarch. No, the Unnumbered Sons were a grand experiment, a melding of Geneseed, a brotherhood comprised of warriors from every lineage. They bore the grey of the neutral, unadorned save for the heraldry of the crusade, a brotherhood unclaimed and unbound. A force of Space Marines, thousands strong, drawn from every genetic lineage, fighting side by side. Ultramarines alongside Blood Angels, Dark Angels beside Space Wolves, all the storied rivalries and ancient grudges set aside for the greater good. These warriors, these Unnumbered Sons, were a symbol of unity, a practical response to the desperate times, but also a bold statement of unity and brotherhood. They fought with valor and ferocity, proving themselves in the crucible of battle, upholding the highest ideals of the Adeptus Astartes. As I delve into the tale of the Unnumbered Sons, also known as the Grey Shields, I invite you to imagine the grandeur of such a force. 9 legion-sized armies of Primaris Space Marines, drawn from the genetic lineage of all the loyalist Primarchs, who fought valiantly during the Horus Heresy. It was a sight to behold, a force united under the banner of the Imperium, ready to reclaim the galaxy in the name of the Emperor. But what set the Unnumbered Sons apart was not just their size or their genetic heritage. It was the way in which they were organized and deployed. Half of the Primaris created during the Ultima founding were formed into entirely new chapters, while the other half were placed within the ranks of the Unnumbered Sons. Guilliman, in his wisdom, forced these warriors to fight in mixed squads, containing Primaris Marines from multiple gene lines. It was a bold strategy, aimed at forging cooperation and understanding between the different lineages, in hopes of preventing the inter-chapter disputes that had plagued the Adeptus Astartes in the past. As a reserve force during the Indomitus crusade, the Sons proved to be a potent weapon in Guilliman's arsenal. Yet as the years went on, their numbers dwindled, not just from the rigors of battle, but also because Guilliman saw fit to disperse them, sending them to reinforce existing chapters or to form new ones, spreading their learned unity and brotherhood throughout the Adeptus Astartes. By the end of the first phase of the Indomitus crusade, at the Battle of Raukos, the ranks of the Unnumbered Sons had been reduced to around 20,000 warriors, and it was at this point that Guilliman made a pivotal decision: to quell the rumblings of his political opponents and to uphold the principles of the Codex Astartes. He disbanded the remaining Unnumbered Sons, dispersing them into new Primaris Marine chapters, or integrating them into established chapters. In the end, the Unnumbered Sons were a bold experiment, a blending of gene lines and traditions, a shaping of what unity could be achieved even amongst the most diverse of brothers, and their legacy endures in the chapters they helped to build and strengthen. Yet, what truly set the Unnumbered Sons apart was the unique manner in which they were organized. Guilliman, with his strategic acumen and foresight, had them fight in mixed squads, integrating Marines from different gene lines. This melange of lineages and combat doctrines created a synergy that was unparalleled. The diversity within their ranks was not a weakness, but a wellspring of strength. It granted them a flexibility and adaptability that was rare, even amongst the esteemed ranks of the Adeptus Astartes. These warriors learned to appreciate and understand the varied strengths and temperaments of their brothers from different gene lines. They complemented each other, with the ferocity of the Blood Angels meeting the stoicism of the Imperial Fists, the swiftness of the White Scars melding with the methodical precision of the Ultramarines. In the crucible of war, they forged bonds of brotherhood as strong as adamantium, learning to anticipate and rely upon each other in ways that transcended the typical battle brotherhood of a singular chapter. Their reputation on the battlefield grew with each campaign, as they demonstrated time and again their ability to adapt and overcome, to turn the tide of battle when all seemed lost. They were the Emperor's wrath made manifest, a shining beacon of hope in the dark times of the Indomitus crusade. Yet it would be remiss to overlook the challenges they faced. The integration of different gene lines was not without its frictions. But in overcoming these internal struggles, the Unnumbered Sons proved the veracity of Guilliman's vision. They showed that the diverse lineages of the Primarchs, when united under a standard banner and cause, could overcome any adversity. And so, as we reflect upon the legacy of the Unnumbered Sons, let us remember them not just for their victories and their valor, but for the unity they represented, the potential they embodied. They were a beacon of what the Adeptus Astartes could achieve when united, a lesson for us all in these trying times. The Primaris, born from the seeds of ancient and venerable lineages, were introduced to the Imperium in its darkest hour. With Guilliman's return and the commencement of the Indomitus crusade, they were the new blood needed to staunch the wounds of a beleaguered Imperium. Their advanced weaponry, enhanced physique and rigorous training made them a force to be reckoned with, standing taller and proving mightier than their firstborn brethren in many a battle across the stars. They were not without their controversies, their arrival stirring the ancient cauldron of tradition and change. There were those who viewed them with skepticism, questioning the purity of their Geneseed and the intentions behind their creation. Yet time and again, the Primaris Marines proved their loyalty to the Imperium and their Primarchs, laying down their lives in countless battles to push back the encroaching darkness. They bolstered the ranks of the Adeptus Astartes, standing shoulder to shoulder with the firstborn Marines in defense of the Emperor's realm. They became integral to the chapters they joined, learning from their brethren and, in turn, imparting their knowledge and skills. The Rubicon Primaris was crossed by many, a testament to the acceptance of the Primaris Marines and the realization that they were indeed the future of the Adeptus Astartes. In battle, the Primaris Marines displayed unparalleled bravery and skill, their enhanced physiques and advanced war gear allowing them to tackle threats that would overwhelm even the most seasoned firstborn Marines. They proved instrumental in turning the tides of countless battles, their presence a beacon of hope and a harbinger of victory. Yet it is not just in the field of battle that their impact has been felt. The Primaris Marines represent a leap forward in the Imperium's understanding of genecraft and warfare. They are the embodiment of innovation and progress, qualities that are all too rare in the often stagnant and dogmatic halls of the Imperium. As we stand in the shadow of these towering warriors, we must reflect on their impact and the future they herald. The Primaris are not just a new breed of warrior. They are a symbol of the Imperium's ability to adapt and overcome, to stare into the abyss and fight on with renewed vigor and strength. So as we chronicle their deeds and tell their tales, they are the new blood, the next chapter in the eternal story of humanity's struggle against the darkness. And in their strength, their valor, and their unwavering loyalty, we find hope for the future, a beacon of light in the ever-present shadows of the 41st millennium. As the final whispers of our journey through the saga of the Primaris resonate within these ancient walls, we find ourselves at the confluence of history and destiny, where the echoes of the past meet the uncertainties of the future. In the Primaris Marines, we see the reflection of Guilliman's vision for a stronger, more resilient Imperium. They are the product of his foresight and determination, a gamble made in the direst of times to ensure the survival and prosperity of mankind. They are a reminder that the Imperium is not a relic of the past, but a living, breathing entity, capable of change and growth. So let us mark this chapter in our history with a sense of pride and a recognition of the weight of our responsibility. The Primaris are the vanguard of a new age, and we are the chroniclers of their story. It is our duty to bear witness, to document, and to learn from their journey, for in their tale we find the continued hope and resilience of the Imperium of Man. As the echoes of this lecture fade away, let us carry forward the lessons of change, embracing change, fostering unity, and standing resolute in the face of adversity. For in their story, we find a beacon of hope, a path forward through the darkness, and the enduring strength of the Imperium of Man.